everyone, Paul ISM. Welcome to another step-by-step build video. Before we get going today, just have a little watch of this. Please pay attention because it does explain a lot of information a lot of people ask for in all these videos. So, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the little bell notifications to get notified of all our latest videos. Click the like button and leave a comment. I do read and reply to all the comments and appreciate everybody that takes the time to leave a comment on the channel. And of course, if you scroll up in the description, there's a link to a big long list of all the items I use in my videos. So if you see anything, you should be able to find it in there. So today we're going to start part 1 on the Revell 125th Chevy Impala SS. Now, the American car builds seem to do a bit better on the channel. They get a lot more views. The Chevelles had a lot of views. The Mustang's up there straight away. And I've wanted to do another one for a while. I enjoyed the bare metal on the Chevelle. I saw this kit. The box art is just phenomenal on it. And that's what sold me on the kit. It's one of the best car box art I think I've ever seen. Really like it. Really think it looks fantastic. So I bought the kit. It was about £25 off Amazon. It's a 2-in-1, so you can do the lowrider version or the standard version. We're doing the lowrider. And for a 24-year-old kit, it doesn't look too bad. Body's going to need some cleanup, as you'll see in a minute, and I'll explain. But overall, it looks pretty decent. So fingers crossed it'll go together well. We won't have loads of issues, and we'll come out with a decent-looking build in the end. So there we are. If you've built this kit at all, please comment down below. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it, what you think, and obviously let me know your thoughts at the end of the video as well. So let's jump straight into the build and get started. So as usual, we're going to start with our bodywork. So on this, there's the main body itself, the bonnet / hood, depending on the world you're from, and the 2 bonnet hinges as well. So pretty simple to do. But we've also got to spray up the floor pan, the bulkhead, and I think it's the front slam panel inside as well, body colour. So they're the parts we need to get ready for paint. So on the body there are numerous seams to clean, some quite tricky ones to be honest as well. Need to remove any excess flash, which again there is a bit on the kit. It's an older kit now, I think it's 24 years old now. I think it's a 1996 kit, I think, where I remember. So there is a little bit of flash here and there, but we're going to carefully remove that. We've removed the excess plastic with our Tamiya side cutters, and we've got a 400 customizable sander cut to size. I like these because they leave a nice flat edge, so you don't go rounding off edges. It keeps it nice and straight. And just have a look at the parts and have a good look. There are some parts on the side that need removing as well. There's an ejector mark there as well, but pretty simple. Refer to the instructions, make sure you get everything orientated the right way. And the instructions show the bonnet springs going to the, I think it was the outer edge. So refer to instructions, do a little test fit. Once you're happy that they're in the right place, got a bit of a Tamiya extra thin, which I've mixed 50-50 with EMA Plastic World. A little tip picked up by my buddy Norman. Makes it a little hotter, but lets it dry a bit slower, so it makes it a bit more usable. Pop a little bit in the recess just to hold the part temporarily, get it straightened up correctly, and a little bit of the capillary action glue the part in place. Nice and simple, nice and easy. The most important thing on this is to make sure we get it straight. So you can see we repeat for the other side, a little bit of glue in the locating point, make sure it's orientated the right way. Pop it in, hold for a second, and then we'll allow the glue to do its job. Once it's glued in place, we'll make sure they're straight. They are pushed fully home, like so. And then we're going to test fit it in the car, make sure it all fits in correctly. As you can see, the Tamiya bottles are in our UMP plastic anti-spill holders. We do a double, triple for Mr. Hobby. For Tamiya, we do singles. They're very, very useful and save a lot of heartache ruining your cutting mats. So the body, a lot of cleanup on this and some very, very deep panel lines, gaps, sprue points, mold seams, flash around the windows. I had a little bit of damage on one of my gutters I need to clean up. This took quite a while to clean up. It's not the worst body in the world, but it's certainly not the best, and it is definitely no Tamiya kit. It's showing its age for sure. But just go around, remove any seam lines, any gaps that shouldn't be there, any damaged parts, any flash. It's not always apparent, so you do need to have a really good look. But generally, you have a seam line that runs from front to back. It'll often be hidden in panel lines. So just find it and follow it. You should see where it goes. If you want, you can mark out with a Sharpie. I don't like doing that myself. It's another contaminant to add to the surface. I don't need to. You can see them with your eye and feel them with your finger. So we've got a 220 sponge to remove the excess of the seam line on the back wing. And then there's a very annoying seam line that heads into that rear window. Really awkward to get. So again, we've got a 400 customizable cut in a sharp triangular shape that will get us right in there without damaging any of the plastic. And makes a nice, quick, easy job of something that would be very, very awkward to sand otherwise. Like I say, this did take a while. There was quite a lot of seams. Where there was a seam, it was actually recessed, where it hadn't been like connected properly as such. There was a bit of damage around that gutter seal, so the gutter on the what would be the driver's side in the USA. Took a little bit of work to get it straight. It wasn't perfect, but it was adequate. Quite a bit of flash here and there. So just have a good inspect around the body, looking for seams, damage, because the more time you take here, the better finish you'll get at the end. One of the worst ones was on this front wing. There's a seam that runs across the top. Just below it is a step, and it's recessed, and it shouldn't be there from where I can see. You see me feeling it there. So this took a lot of work. Because while it's easy to remove the seam and the line, you don't want to reshape the front fender / wing. So it just takes some gentle sanding, keep going, check it, keep going, check it, slowly, until you get rid of all the seams. Like I said, there are a lot on this, and there's quite a bit of flash in places. It's not immediately evident when you look at it. So take your time. The better prep you do now, the better finish you'll get at the end. And again, on the front, quite a big piece of flash here. You can only really see it from underneath, so make sure you turn it upside down. We get the most of it off with the 220 sponge, and then we're coming into the corners with a 400 customizable to finish off and get our shapes the way we want it. Quite important here because this is where the front bumper fits. So we want to make sure that when we come back later, it all fits in place. Once you have all the seams removed, we've got a 220 sanded sponge here. These will be available at UMP in the near future, and they are absolutely fantastic for cleaning up large areas of plastic. So clean up glue marks or contaminants off car bodies, bike panels, aircraft, armor panels, wherever you can get this thing in. I like to scuff all the plastic. Once it's worn down a little bit, it's absolutely perfect for this job. Perfect for prepping for primer. If there's any contaminants, glue marks, anything and everything, and it's not too harsh at all. Works really, really well for body prep for primer. And yeah, very happy we've got these now, and hopefully we'll have them out soon. As always, the old faithful toothbrush, my Mickey Mouse toothbrush, in all the body panels, recesses, gaps, to get any sanding dust out of them. As you can see, these are all the other parts that also need painting in body colour. So we've got 2 body panels, and then I think it's 4 chassis parts, or 3. We've got some UMP airbrush cleaning out on a bit of tissue. I'm just going to wipe over the entire body. This will get like any last remnants of dust and contaminants, remove any fingerprint marks, any grease, anything like that at all. Because I know a lot of people like to wash their sprues, but handling it with your hands when you've been, I don't know, itching your ear, scratching your nose, eating some crisps, whatever, will leave more contaminants on this plastic than anything else out there. And trust me, it does have a detrimental effect to primer and your paintwork. So as you can see, we're not got a huge amount of the cleaner on the tissue, just enough to wipe it all over. Once you're happy, we've got it mounted to the stand. We'll wipe over the tissue. We don't need to touch the body again at all. So this is on the Tamiya stand. It's Tamiya taped inside as well to stop it falling off. And there we go. Job done. So we're in the booth. Now, I did toy with using a white primer over a white body, but I thought, no, I fancy grey. And I didn't want to do it too dark a grey, so I chose Tamiya surface primer. This is the rattle can, spray can. It's been decanted. I'm just blowing off any dust and contaminants left behind now. It's been decanted, left for 24 hours, and thinned about 20% with the Tamiya thinner with lacquer thinner with retarder. Sorry. As you can see, we'll start off with light coats. We'll build it up 3 or 4 coats, and that'll give us a very nice light grey primer. Now, why am I using this? A lot of people are probably going to ask that because obviously UMP, we have our own primer. No particular reason, purely for the colour. I wanted a light grey primer. It wouldn't make me mixing UMP primer. I switch and change. We sell both, so it doesn't really matter either way in that respect. They both work really well. I think the UMP is a lot more forgiving myself, but I really do like this. And if I'm honest, I've got tons of this stuff. I've bought it over the years. I have loads of it, so I need to use it. That is the main reason sometimes for using something. You've got plenty of it, you may as well use it. It's a very, very good primer. There's 2 downsides for me. 3 actually, I suppose, if you're in the long run. Number 1, it stinks. Absolutely stinks. It's a lacquer. It does smell, so if you're in your house, you haven't got an extractor, you're going to have to do this outside. Number 2, it's expensive compared to UMP. A bottle of UMP primer will go a lot further than a can of this. There's not much in the price difference, so UMP is the more economical way. And I get a much smoother finish off UMP primer. I always seem to get little, not globules, it's not spitting, it's never a perfect finish. I always have to take it back once I've primed. But it's still a fantastic primer. It's quick. I can paint on this the same day. So it swings and roundabouts really. Each has got its own benefit, but for me, UMP primer wins every time. UMP primer self-levels. There's no real smell to it. It's nice and easy to spray once you know how to do it, and it's a lot cheaper as well. As you can see, we've done the body, we've done the chassis, we're doing all the parts. I'm not going to show them all done, but they're all getting one light coat first, and then we'll build it up as we go. Being lacquer, you can be a little bit more aggressive with it, I suppose the word is. But yeah, just bear in mind the safety aspects. Make sure you got a respirator on and an extractor, because this does stink and it will do you a lot more harm than good. So there we go, put that to one side, we'll work on all the other parts, and then we'll come back to our body as well. So as you can see, we've gone through quite a bit of it already. That's nearly half that 40ml pot, is it? I think it is. Gone already. So yeah, it doesn't go a long way. A 60ml bottle of UMP primer will last a lot longer. This is about our 3rd coat now. We've come across different angles, different ways, just making sure we've got all those different recesses covered. A perfect colour primer for this blue that we've got. White would have done, great, dark grey would have done, but I wanted a light grey. This is what I chose today. Like I say, quite often no rhyme or reason for me picking and changing the primers, just wherever I feel like using on the day. If you've never decanted the primer before, if you go to the channel, I have a separate video showing how to decant them as well. Just one word of warning, if you do decant it, do not put your lid on straight away on your decanted paint. It does need to off gas. If you put it in a bottle, it will explode the bottle. There we go. That's our 3 light coats of the Tamiya primer. It's been drying overnight, and we're back with our 220 sponge again. And like I say, we've not got it perfectly smooth. It's funny, it's a good primer. I just think the UMP primer lays down that little bit smoother. But it never hurts to go around and scuff up primer before paint. You'll always get a better finish. So as long as you're careful, stay away from any edges, don't apply too much pressure. You can carefully sand it all over, remove any flaws, dust, dirt, specks, where the airbrush is spat, anything like that at all. Just take it back. Again, preparation gives you a much better finish and does work to your advantage. So all we're doing is just taking off any high spots, any dust, overspray, globules of paint, hairs, anything like that that's landed in there. It does happen, sadly. As you see, I've got it angled into those recesses because you can burn through a corner a lot quicker than you think you can. So literally just taking the shine off the primer. Now, one thing on this body, I cannot see at this stage. I can't really see it when it's painted either. It only became apparent once it was clear coated. There is a very small sink mark in the roof. There's a mark underneath where something's been moulded to it, and it does show on the roof once it's 2K cleared. But it's not the end of the world. It's just one of those things. You only see it when you angle it at certain angles. So, not the end of the world. This is the colour we chose. This is TS41 Cobalt Blue, if I remember right. So, we test sprayed it. This was a fantastic recommendation by my buddy Chunk. I did have Mr. Colour, I think it's C60, picked out, which is a very similar colour, but this was absolutely perfect. So, thanks for that, Chunk. Awesome pick, buddy. You're still a bit of a flog, but yeah, great colour choice. So this has been decanted. I decanted the whole can, just purely and simply. I've no idea why, I just did. So this is the paint neat out the can. It needs thinning a touch. So we're going to whiz it up with our Badger paint mixer. If you've not got one of these, I highly recommend getting one. They are fantastic tools when you know how to use them and don't flick paint everywhere. Again, you can get them from us at umpretail.com. Link of UMP is in the description of the video. So give it a good mix up. It looks like overkill, but it's not. This paint does settle a lot. I love the Tamiya TS sprays. I love the paint. The Tamiya LP paints are absolutely fantastic as well. But again, I got a huge investment in these paints. I got over 100 spray cans. So yeah, I want to use them. Tamiya lacquer thinner with retarder. So I made a bit of a mistake here. I started to thin the TS spray as if it was LP paint, and I went to thin it 70-30. On the third lot of thinner, I thought, oh, it's too much, way too much. I've thinned that 50-50 now, when really I need a max of 20-30% thinner. The TS spray is a little bit thinner than the LP, so they don't need thinning as much. So I thought, right, let's chuck more paint in, and in the end, I threw it all in. So in there is probably 20 ml of paint and 10 ml of thinner. It's not the ideal mix I normally do, but it'll be more than adequate. And basically, as you'll see in a minute, it sprays down absolutely fine. It just shows you that overthinking your paint thinning ratios, it's easy to do, very easy to do. So yeah, don't worry about it too much. If it sprays, as long as the airbrush isn't whistling, as you can see, this is probably a little bit thicker than it normally would be. It's spraying absolutely perfect. It's covering really well. Doing very good. In fact, thinking about it, it probably is thinned about right. Probably about 25% thinned. And as you see, the colour goes down really well. Fast coverage. Go through the apex, 0.35 needle, 18 psi. It's blowing off a bit of dust. What we're going to do, we're going to start from bottom to top. Get a nice coat on there without going too thick. And we'll come back, and I think it was 3 coats in total on this. There's so many things to remember on these builds. It's quite hard. When you're actually physically doing the voiceover, I'm doing this as the video rolls, and I try to remember on the spot sometimes. I can't remember. It's just one of those things. As you see, it's going down lovely. Colour's already there. Absolutely beautiful colour. And all we're doing is overpassing each paint, each coat every time. And what we need to ensure is we get all the little recesses around the bonnet, the engine bay, interior, windows, everywhere. Anywhere the paint should be, we need to get. As you can see, just off one light coat, absolutely fantastic coverage. Beautiful colour. I'm very happy I chose this. It's going to suit this car right down to the ground. It's going to look very, very cool. Once we get this thing bare metal foiled, which again, we're going to try a different way today. We're going to put the bare metal foil under the 2K as we recommended last time by a lot of you guys out there. So there's the body with its first coat. This is the bonnet / hood with its first coat. Looking good. The coverage is phenomenal off these lacquer paints. Really, really good. I think that's our front slam panel. Got a terrible habit doing this. I pick up parts, no idea what they are. Paint them because I know what colour they need to be. And then figure out later and go, oh, right, that's what it is. I see. I think this is our firewall bulkhead. And then our chassis gets a few coats as well. So again, one light coat to begin with. As you can see, we're just getting all the final coverage. Coverage off the lacquer paints just amazes me every time how easy and quick they cover. And if you wanted, I'll be honest, you could spray this all in one go. By the time you spray from the front to the back and you come back, it's dry, ready for another coat. And there we go. There's the body, bonnet, chassis, and everything else, all painted. About 3 coats of the TS41. Fantastic colour. We're going to leave that for a couple of days to dry. Probably about 36 to 48 hours in total. And then we'll come back and do some bare metal foil work. So there we go. It's a few days later. This is nicely dry. We've got some of the bare metal chrome. We've got a brand new blade and our Tamiya knife. A couple of cotton buds, cocktail stick, ruler, and another knife as well. Now what we're going to do, and again, another tip I picked up from my buddy Norman. Norman is like a well of knowledge. And his tip was to round over the edge of the cocktail stick using a sander, because you don't want it to drag or snag. So round it over so it's nice and smooth. And that really helps with putting down the bare metal foil. So this is my second time using this on a car. And I'm not going to lie, I put it off. I was dreading doing it. Again, once I got into doing it, really enjoyable. It took about 2-3 hours to do all this. There's a lot of chrome on this car. Really enjoyable afternoon with the guys in the hangouts, listening to some music, chilling, chatting away, which is the beauty of these voiceovers. Years ago when I didn't do the voiceovers, I had to be on my own to do the videos. And it really made it a bit of a chore at times because I couldn't talk to people and it meant a day or two of being on my own. So now I do the voiceovers. If I turn the volume up, you hear us all chatting in the background as I'm doing this. It makes it a lot more enjoyable to do. You can always come and join our Off Air Hangouts. The link is there. It's always live. Someone's in there, you can join. We just sit, model, chat. All you need is a webcam and a mic. They are very good fun. So I've cut this piece of bare metal foil to size. It's probably about 5mm in width. And I've measured it to this first side panel. We're going to pop it right in the middle, a little bit of overhang each edge. Make sure we get what we want before we commit to pushing it down. And there we go. Make sure we've got even coverage each side because we have to cut this. So we grab our rounded over cocktail stick. We run it into the little panel line and then along the top and bottom of each part. Like so. Just make sure it's burnished right up to the edge and right into the gap itself as well. We're not really applying any force, we're just letting the cocktail stick lie along it. Just use a cotton bud should you wish as well, but on this one, that did the job perfect. Brand new blade in our knife, we've got it rested against the edge of that panel line, and we're just scoring through it, and then grabbing the edge, go through the panel line of the door shuts. Use the knife to drag the foil over a bit, pick it up carefully, grab our tweezers, take off any excess. There we go, that's the top piece off. If you're using a knife to get the edge of the foil, make sure you're very careful you don't chip your paintwork. Very, very easy to do. And then the bottom part is next. The same, rest against the edge. Just gently draw the knife back. Let the blade do the work. There's loads of guides of doing this on YouTube. Go and have a look. I've watched a few of them to get an idea of what I was doing. If you don't think you score through it fully, put your knife in the same place. Just lightly draw it through. It doesn't need a lot of pressure. You'll figure out the pressure needed as you go. One thing I will say is it does blunt your knife blade very quick. So make sure you change blades as you go. There you go. Once you got all the excess off, get a nice fresh cotton bud and lightly burnish it all down until you're happy it's all in place, and then repeat. So on this, we've got all that side strip to do, the bottom side strip to do, all around the windows, front, side and rear. Quite a lot to do. As you can see, it looks great. I haven't quite properly burnished the bottom down, as you can see. It looks a bit ragged, but we'll get our cattail stick. Just run it along, and there we go. Perfect. Quick, simple, easy, and quite enjoyable and satisfying to do. And there we are. This is it now. Probably 2-3 hours later, all done. That is Laura Burr metal foil. That took me quite a lot of time. I'll just turn the lights off so you can see the chrome better. She looks very, very pretty. I opted against doing the arches. Number one, they look an absolute nightmare to do because there isn't much of a demarcation for the foil. And I kind of like the look without it, to be honest. So we've got some grey and black Tamiya panel line wash. We don't want to do it black. I don't want the starkness of a black wash. So we're going to add a few bits of grey and a couple of drops of black to make a nice dark grey colour. And that can be our panel line wash colour. Do like this wash. It's very usable. Nice enamel wash. It doesn't react with the lacquer paints. One of the most important things you need to remember, use opposing substances against each other. And then the black, just add a couple of drops to, mix it all up. What we want is a nice dark grey. We don't want it light grey, we don't want it black. Just a nice dark grey, and that'll accentuate all those panel lines on the doors, the boot, etc. And as you can see, we just let the capillary reaction carry it. The lacquer paint is nice and gloss, so the capillary reaction works really well. Literally touch it to it. You can run it along as well if you need to. It may take 2 goes over, so go around, pop it in, go all around the body and come back. It does dry quite quick, and you'll normally find the first pass isn't as dark as you like, so I often go back around and add a second coat as such. But just touch it, let the capillary reaction carry it. Very good wash. Sadly, not readily available in the UK. It's not imported for some reason. It's probably going to be a labelling problem. But you can get it from abroad if you need it. And I don't mean a woman. And there we go. Let that dry for a few hours. And then we can come back and wipe it off. So immediately we're going to jump into the decals. It comes with a pretty decent decal sheet. It does come with these rather tacky pinstripes, which I'm not a big fan of. So we're not going to use those. We still are doing a lowrider type version. I just don't want to put those decals on. I do not like the look of them. Now, past experience with Revell decals, they're generally normally pretty good. Not too bad at all. So I'm just looking at what we need. There's several on there. Not too many at all. And they went down really well. So I've got a little splodge of water on the bench. Being a bit lazy. But there's only literally half a dozen decals to do. So put them in the water to release. We've got our UMP decal solutions, our Tamiya decal tweezers, and my water pen. Everybody always asks what the water pens are. They are linked in the description of the video. They are artist, acrylic, watercolor water pens. So you fill them with water and they blend watercolor pencils. Now originally we were using these to fill with the decal solutions so that it was quick and easy to apply them. I did find out that over time, because they're not airtight, the decal solutions were losing their potency. So I stopped filling them with the decal solutions, but I got so used to the brush, and it's a fantastic nylon synthetic brush. It's absolutely perfect for decal, and I still continue to use the pen for decaling to this day. There's nothing in it at all, but I just love the brushes. I have a flat one and a pointed brush, as you can see here. They are literally, in my opinion, the perfect brushes for decaling. So we put the decal in place. There is a raised marking on the body where they sit. You're literally putting the letters over raised letters on the body. I pop that in place. I'm not quite happy where it is, so I've just wetted it again with a bit more water, and we're going to pick it up and move it back. As you see, our wash is on there. It's started to dry really nice. We don't need to go anywhere near with the decals. It's pretty safe to do this. Just don't touch the body. The beauty of the Tamiya stand means we never need to touch his body. And there we go. Happy that's in place now. It's sat on its raised letters on the body. Once you're happy, cotton bud to remove any excess liquid behind. Literally just water on this. Didn't even bother using microset. And then we've got one of our 3 decal solutions. We're going to use the normal. That's all it really needed on this. We do a normal, strong, and extra strong. Normal is about the same power as microsol. The strong is a little bit more powerful than solver set, and the extra strong is even more powerful and one of the most powerful decal solutions out there. So if you are using them, make sure you use them in the lowest power first and work your way up as required. But they are fantastic. Definitely game changers for decaling. Another product we are very, very happy to add to our arsenal. Again, there's a link to UMP Retail in the description below. Head on over there. We sell everything from kits, primers, paints, tools, you name it, we've got it. Go over there and help and support us. So literally half a dozen decals on this. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There's literally 6 decals on this. Very easy and quick to do. They've all been set in place. And straight away, we put a little bit of Sansador from Winsor Newton mineral spirits on a cotton bud. And we just go around and remove any of that excess wash that we put on. Again, we need to be careful of those decals we just put down. So if you're in any doubt, leave it a few hours, let the decals dry. But I'm pretty confident I can go around and remove the excess wash where required. So there we go. Just take your time. Doesn't need any pressure. You don't need a ton of the mineral spirits on the cotton bud. You just need careful removal where you've got a little bit too much. Just leaving it in the recessed areas. As you can see, it does wipe off pretty easy. Once you've wiped out one side, turn it around to the dry bit to dry it off. There we go. Quick, simple, and very effective. Glad it shows that colour of wash. It's not really dark. Not as bad as black would be. And certainly not as light as grey. Once you're happy you've got it all off, dry piece of kitchen paper, and we'll lightly go round and remove any excess. Now, if you look carefully when that roof catches the light at the back, you can just see that sink mark now. I couldn't really notice it to the naked eye, but when looking on the camera back, I can see it. So that's been 24 hours now. We're back in the spray booth. We've got our Gravity Spain 2K clear. We're putting in 9mm of clear. We normally do 6mm, but it's a bigger body this. It's going to take quite a lot. It's a 3-to-1 mix, so 9mm of clear, 3mm of hardener, and 3mm of thinner. Put the hardener in first, the activator in first. Get the right measurement, and then give it a good stir up to get it activated, and then put the thinner in. So as you can see, I have wetted down my kitchen paper to catch any dust. We've got a fresh filter in the booth. Everything else is out the spray booth. It is completely empty, just the things I need for doing this. I'm double gloved on my left hand because that's the hand that gets covered in 2K. I have a sleeve on the left hand as well. I've got my full face respirator on. And yeah, as many safety precautions as we can. The booth's on, the window's cracked just a touch to allow airflow. So we want to extract as much of this as we can while keeping dust to a minimum. So yeah, it's very tricky and you always will end up with dust. It's just one of those things. So there we go, that's all mixed together there. And then we'll pop in our 3mm of thinner. We use a fresh pipette for each one because we don't want to contaminate the bottle. If you put activator in the thinner, you probably ruin that bottle of thinner. So a fresh pipette. The pipettes are dirt cheap to buy. I don't bother cleaning them. They are literally thrown away when used. And again, give it a good mix up. You'll know when it's mixed because it'll go back to being clear again. I think the activator makes it a little bit cloudy. Once you've stirred it all up, it should be nice and clear again. Make sure you get all the remnants out of the pipette. And now we've got our 190 micron filter. It doesn't really need doing, I'm told, but I always do it. Always have and always will. Get every last drop out of there, because trust me, there'll be a time you come to the end of spraying and you just need that tiny little bit more and you've not got it. So what we do here is we filter it through. We put down our filtered 2K to one side, put a little bit in the airbrush, and then we'll just pop it in the top. And while we're doing our first few coats for the first 10-15 minutes, any last remnants will drip into that pot, because trust me, there will come a time when you need just a little bit extra and you end up having to mix a whole new batch again. Anti-static brush from Tamiya, again fantastic for this job. How good does that bare metal foil look? Looks absolutely fantastic against that body colour. Anti-static brush works absolutely brilliant. Just run it over and I find it really does help cut down on the dust. And there we go, straighten it up and away we go. So with Apex is a 25 psi. 0.35 needle. This is my dedicated Apex airbrush just for 2King. It gets used for nothing else at all. It's cleaned at the end and it's cleaned before we come back again as well, because I've crystallized 2K cause issues before where it's dried in the brush and then sprayed back over the body. So first coat, as always, is our Tack Coat. So it's basically a mist coat. So I call it a semi-wet coat. And we want enough of the 2K down so you can see it. We leave it 10 minutes. That will go very, very tacky in that 10 minutes. And when we come back for our second wet coat, it will help reduce the risk of any runs, and it will help the 2K stick much better. So we're systematically going all over the body. We're overlapping with each paint pass. There we go. As you see, just do it till we get a little bit of a sheen. Okay, make sure you get the front and over the tops. When you do the sides, as you go over the top, run a paint pass along the sides from upwards, so you get down over the windows and over the wing and the rear arches as well, because it's quite easily missed. Again, just get enough down to get a sheen. You can see it now. Just a bit of a sheen. If you touch that, which do not do, that would be extremely sticky. That's exactly what we want. Once we're happy with that, we'll pop it in our plastic case for 10 minutes. Let it go off a bit and get a bit tacky, and then come back as we have here for our second pass. So this one's going on a bit heavier now. We want a wet coat without it being a perfect wet coat. So we want enough of it down so that it's a lot wetter, but not so it's completely smooth. We will get that smoothness on our final coat. Again, we want this as a secondary coat to go tacky, and then once we put our full wet coat down at the end, we'll have our full flawless finish. Again, we're doing the bonnet off camera because there's no point showing that, and they are both put under the plastic tub for that 10 minutes once they're sprayed. Just be very, very careful when you're spraying separate parts. Don't let them touch. Make sure they don't fall over. Make sure they're securely mounted and not going to fall off. Time will teach you this when things go wrong. As you see on that roof, there's that sink mark. We just passed it. You can see we've got a gloss coat, but it's not perfect. There is orange peel there, and that's exactly what we want. We want enough of it there to get a gloss coat, but not enough to get a perfect one, because we will come back on our final third coat in a minute and get that down. There's a sink mark right in the middle now. There it is again. It's a shame, but it's only noticeable when you angle it, so it's not the end of the world. 10 minutes have passed. This is our final wet coat, so I'm going to go across a little bit slower now with my passes. About the same kind of pull back on the trigger, but because we're going slower, it puts down that wet coat a little bit. And all you're looking for is enough 2K down that it self-levels with no orange peel. And that's it. It's done. If you put enough down and you can't see the orange peel, that is it. Don't go over it again. As long as it's smooth, as it looks now is how it will look when it dries. And don't be afraid, you can put a lot more down than you think. But literally, the more you use it, the more you get used to it. Because the worst thing you can get now is a run. And again, side first, angle it down to get the front of that bonnet edge. Then we get the bottom of the windows, the top of the windows, and then work our way across the roof. What we want to see after this third pass is a flawless finish. No orange peel, nothing. If there's orange peel, give it another light go over. You probably haven't put enough on. But don't dilly-dally. Be as quick as you can within, without being silly. Because the longer it's out, the more chance you've got a dust landing in it. You want to get it under cover as quick as you can. So there we go, we painted it, we're having a good look around for any flaws. We use the light to our advantage. Angle it down and round. If we see anything, there you go, we give it a little pass over again. Once we're happy, we put it away. This is our final third coat on the bonnet. Now sadly, we did get some dust land on the front. 4 very annoying points right on the front edge. You can see 2 of them there. Bit of a shame, but hey, it's one of those. And this is the body after about 2 hours of drying. So this is dust dry now. So if anything lands on this, it won't stick. But if you touched it with your hand, it would leave a fingerprint. So you do not want to touch it or catch it. As you can see, we've got a beautiful 2K job on that. It had no detrimental effect to the chrome. So thank you for whoever told me that last time. As you can see on the roof, we've got a nice gloss coat. There's that sink mark. It's right in the back. The boot lid looks great. And as I say, as this is now, is how it will dry. That's the beauty of 2K clear. You could get away with not polishing this and it would look fantastic. But once this is cured, we will flat it and polish it to a high shine. It's beautiful. It turned out really, really well. We turn off the light. You can see outside my window. There's that sink mark. There you go. It's very evident there. It's a real shame. It's just one of those things. It wasn't visible in the beginning. And I'm not going to muck about now on something you can only see when you angle it against the light. We've got our bonnet. Again, really well. Apart from a few specks of dust at the front, which we can polish out. There they go, there they are. Bit annoying. They're almost symmetrical as well. But it looks good. Lots of different angles on the bonnet, so it does look a bit odd in the light. But yeah, fantastic. Very happy with that. And here's some still pictures a few hours later. So you can see the beautiful blue colour. Looks absolutely fantastic. Really come out well. Very happy with that colour. The chrome bare metal foil looks phenomenal. Beautiful colour. It's just absolutely stunning once cleared. So we're going to leave this now for probably about a week while we work on other projects and other parts of the car. And we can come back, flat it, and polish it up to a beautiful high shine. This is also our storage box, as you can see. I explained this last time, but I'll talk about it again. It's just a cheap plastic box / tote, I suppose. We turned it upside down, drilled some holes into the bottom to allow us to put some zip ties through to hold clips. And they are spaced perfectly to hold the Tamiya stand. We drilled 4 holes in the side, used some Tamiya mesh that comes with all the car and armour kits. Hot glue gun them in, purely and simply to allow a little bit of ventilation without any dust getting through. And that's it. Simple, cheap thing, cost me £5 for the box. I have 2 of them for multiple projects. And it saves a lot of dust. And if you've got singular parts, i.e. just the stand, once that stand is clipped in place, you can move that box around as much as you like and it will not move at all. There we go then. It's looking really good. Very happy with that. Beautiful colour. 2K came out. Absolutely sweet. Just a couple of spots of dust to remove, mainly on the bonnet. But overall, that's come out really, really well. And hopefully, we've got the start of a great car build. We will see. So part 2 will be up literally when it's up. I've not forgot about the Mustang. These are going to run side by side. In fact, they are the interior parts of the Mustang, ready to be primed later on today. All the running gear is painted, just needs assembling. So part 2 that'll be up soon. Then part 2 of the Impala will be up, and we'll just keep going like that until we get them done. But I just couldn't wait. And when I asked last night in the live show, everyone, 95% of the people said run them both together. So there we are. That's what we're going to do. If you've got any comments or feedback or anything you want to ask or know, please ask down below. And as you know, usual, if there's anything you see me using, it'll more than likely be in that list that was mentioned at the beginning of the video. It's in the description of this video. Click on it. Big long list of stuff over on the forum, and you'll find that some of the links might be dead. It does need updating, but it'll still give you what the item is, get the actual product itself. Please have a look over there for anything you might need or see in the videos. So yes, so part 2 of this will be up. It will be literally up when I get round, so hopefully in a week or so. It runs side by side with the Mustang, and hopefully we'll come out with 2 great builds that will get a lot of views for the channel. So if you're watching, try and share it around. Share the video around to the groups. There's a few groups I'm not on. There's a few groups I'm not allowed to post on. Feel free to share the video and spread the love. Spread the love around YouTube. There we go. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet because it's quite a long video today. I'll end up waffling for hours otherwise. But the kit's gone together well. Very happy how it's looked. Few issues on the seams, what have you. It needs quite a bit of tricky cleanup in places. But overall, it's come out really well. Beautiful colour. So glad Chunk recommended that colour. And the 2Ks come out fantastic. And the bare metal foils worked very well under the 2K as well, which I was a little bit sceptical of. But that's definitely the way to go for future builds. There we are. Let me know your comments and thoughts in the chat down below. Make sure you sub to the channel, click the bell notification, give it a thumbs up. I read every single comment. I do get a bit backtracked at times, but I always go back and reply to them all. Any questions, pop them in there and I'll try and answer them for you, as always. Check out umpretail.com where you can see nearly all the products I've shown in this video today. Check out my Paul SM modelling page as well, where all my personal modelling work is shared. I'm going to rejuvenate my Instagram account as well. That's my plan for this afternoon. Check out the Live at the Bench page, Off Air Hangout groups, the Facebook page for ISM and the forum. And that's it. Of course. Don't forget on the 30th of October we're doing our charity auction for Models for Heroes. Make sure you pop over on Friday evening on the 30th of October, just under a month. And you can come and join us. We'll make some fantastic money for that wonderful charity. And there we are. So I will see you in part 2 of the Mustang very soon. And part 2 of the Impala very soon. And I will catch you all around. Take care everybody. Thanks for watching today. Bye bye.